Hello everyone. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to set this model up to 3D print. It has what we see here is a lot of overhangs, and that means we're going to have a lot of supports if we print it the way it is here, just standing up. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to cut it right down the middle and make it into two parts and then print those two parts separately. We'll glue it together afterwards. So switching into perspective here, you can see that this specific model has feet that kind of overlap each other, so you're going to need to find a spot that works keeping the whole model all in one piece. Sorry, I don't know why, but we got some big cats up there. Okay. So I'm going to switch this into shaded so that my computer doesn't lag, and then I'm going to go to a top view, and I'm going to draw a cutting blade basically. So I'm going to draw a line, go from here, shift to keep my ortho going, click there, and then I'm going to move the line with the gumball over closer to the center mark here. Switch into perspective, it's still selected, so I can go extrude curve, extrude through the object, and we can see that it looks like we've got the two halves on two separate cut areas here. So that's what we want. Basically, we don't want to have like this. Let me show you here. If I pull this over this way a little bit, we don't want just this little paw. You know, you want to make sure that there's nothing like that going on, because that's going to be a problem. Okay. Okay, so that's where we're going to make our cut. So next step is to use the split command. Just type split, enter, click the object to split, enter, click on the cutting object, enter, and that'll cut this into two separate pieces if you've got your geometry right. And of course, we know that I had my geometry right here because I can click on the object and hit delete, and the whole thing goes away. Everything is Boolean unioned and joined and split and one cohesive, watertight, solid mass. So that's why we can do that. Okay, so now let's do that split again. Split, enter, click on the object to split, enter, click on the cutting object, enter. So that breaks it into two pieces. Now with these two pieces, if I look at it, it's hollow on the inside there. If you have really nice clean geometry, you can just cap it, CAP for cap, enter, and that will create that flat side on there. If your geometry is a little messed up, you can actually use this object to cut out a section of this surface and then use that section in here to join back together. So I'll do that on this side. So if I split the surface, click on the surface, enter, with the cat, it will create this flat little surface area here. So I can delete that, click on this, shift click to add to that, and then join, type join, or click on the puzzle pieces, and you've got the other object. Now I can rotate this 90 degrees by clicking on the green arrow and typing 90, enter. And then I can do the same over here, green arrow, negative 90, enter. I did negative 90 to rotate it the other way 90 degrees. And because I've done that pretty accurately, I know that my objects are on the same plane. No, they're not, right? Okay, so if you want to print this, make this STL in one piece, you can find a way to lay these objects flat. And what I would do with that is actually, I would just probably print them separate or export them separately. So if I select one of these objects, oh, wait, sorry. First, we got to change the units. The 3D printer prints in millimeters. So we've got to go into settings, file settings, or preferences, I believe, if you have a PC, and change this from millimeters under units, or under centimeters here, or inches, I mean. Change it from inches change it from inches to millimeters. And then it says modify units change from inch to millimeter, scale model by 25.4. Yes, you do. So we scale that object up by 25.4 because that's the metric equivalent in units. And then we click on one of the objects. We go File, Export, Selected. Change this little dialog box to STL and title it Cat L for left, and then hit Export. It'll give you the tolerance, 0.01 millimeters is fine. And then binary is fine. And then do the same thing with this one. Export as an STL, call it cat R for right, and then export. And then we're ready to take this into the Apex software. And I'll show you how we do that. So if we go to Apex here, load our model up. We'll do cat L, this, cat R, shift click to select them both, open them up. And then we can click and move these, or click and drag to move the objects around. And click on the object and go to rotate. And then rotate this 90 degrees. Not 91, not 92, 90. Okay? Click on this one. And then we're going to do the same. Rotate it 90 degrees. Okay? And then we will click and move these around together so that they both turn the optimal color for knowing that they're fitting on the build plate. And then I'm actually going to rotate them a little bit to make them closer together, just so that they don't have to go so far from one another in order to make its travel moves. Okay. So there we go. We've got both objects on there. And then we want to always make sure that we have supports on. So if I click on support type, nothing's happening, but weird with the Mac software. If I maximize this, come down here, click on Apex, and then click on this and go touching everywhere, or I'm sorry, everywhere. Over here, we'll go to overhang angle. Mine's in dark mode, so that messes this up too. The software is a little glitchy, but I can have this 45 is a sure thing, but I leave mine at 60 usually, and it comes out all right. Just depends on the print, but 45 is a sure thing. And that's the degree of the angle that's going to get the support structure. Okay, so now let's look at it in the layer mode. Just to check everything, making sure it looks okay. So if I scroll through all this, most of this is on the video of how to print with the Apex software, but it's good to go over it again. So you can see the yellow here is going to be our support structure, and we go all the way down to the bottom layer. Every time we always want to go to the bottom layer just to make sure we've got a nice solid bottom pattern, which it looks like we do. And then we're also looking at the honeycomb pattern. Can we get away with making it thinner, or is it the optimal density? And I think with this one, it's pretty good. I mean, I might be able to get away with making it 12 or something like that. So 12 will give it a little bit quicker print time. And change this to 1.25. So we're cutting off a little bit of time. So I think this is probably going to be what we want for our printing purposes. This is good settings, it looks like. And we're ready to go ahead and start our print. So then after this goes all the way across, it tells us we've got 8 hours and 39 minutes, and we'll go to Save Toolpath. save it as cat, just cat, or whatever you want to save it as, so that it makes sense. A shorter file name is always better, so because I can see it on the display on the 3D printer easier. So click on save, and that's ready to just put on a thumb drive or the micro SD card that goes into the 3D printer and print. And that is it for cutting your objects to make a cleaner 3D print.